Right, on chapter 15 of The Mandalorian, The Believer.
The price of gas is going up.
Mando tries on some new outfits.
And someone's got a case of the Mondays.
And Slave One gets... Slave One gets charged up.
Brutal.
Absolutely, I loved this episode. I think this was one of the better ones.
You say that every week.
Last week I had
this
a couple...
one is so good.
I had some nitpicks last week. This one I really enjoyed. And again...
Why?
We'll have to get the spoilers, so maybe we'll keep
you can do it with spoilers. What made you like it without spoilers?
This one gave you a different perspective on events and roles that are going on in the Star Wars galaxy, which I thought was a very unique take, and it's nice to see, that part of it.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I loved it because without any spoilers, today I heard my first joke in Star Wars history that had nothing to do with Star Wars, but was a reference to pop culture, and we both absolutely howled out loud.
It wasn't coming out of a droid's mouth.
It was not coming out of a droid's mouth, and hearing stories from the other side of things, which is how we'll leave it until we get to spoilers. And
then just to shout out, Rick Famuyiwa, sorry if I'm pronouncing the last name wrong, directed and wrote this one. He obviously did the Jawa Egg one last season and the prison ship one. So he's back, and he's awesome, so to speak. Yeah. All right, let's just get into this. Spoilers time. Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, good. What I alluded to and what I really loved was this episode. They had to go undercover, right? They get Bill Burr. They break him out because he's an former Imperial sharpshooter, as we found out last season. He can get the coordinates to Moff Gideon. So to get there, he needs to be at a terminal. He has to go to the secret base where they're mining rhydonium. They hijack a ride. They pose as tank commanders. Like, they literally opened up the Rogue One, costume department in the basement for this one, because we got the tank commander outfits, we got the shore troopers. It's pretty neat.
Yep.
But anyways, they have to pose as stormtroopers, and we get the part of them being part of the Empire. For one, TIE fighters save them.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Never been so excited to see a TIE fighter.
And when they roll in, like, all the soldiers are cheering them on, patting them on the back, like, great job, guys. Like, you guys really did it. Like, it was interesting to see from, like, the grunt level, right?
Yep.
That it's just, for them, it's just another day at work. Like, they were born into the Empire, so to speak, and that's what they know.
The one piece from that I noticed, really, obviously a huge stretch, but my mind is on Top Gun for obviously what dropped yesterday.
Yeah.
When they're getting out of that tank, there's a weird similarity between that and the ending scene in Top Gun when Maverick gets out of the plane and everyone's cheering and saluting. I'm like, why am I so energized by this? But there was a very eerie similarity to that ending moment in Top Gun. So huge stretch, but I couldn't help make the similarity there.
All right. Okay, so my standout kind of performance this episode, Bill Burr. I'm not that familiar. Like, I've seen some of his stand-up. I thought he was okay last season. I thought he really stood out this episode. I thought he was great.
Took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, his character grew on me like crazy. I hope it's not the last time we see him.
Yeah.
He was funny. His jokes about Cara Dune's personality and trying to fill the awkward silence in the tank as Mando is sitting in this stormtrooper thing, obviously the most uncomfortable he's ever been in his entire life. Yeah. And Bill Burr's just
he wouldn't even look at him. He's just staring straight the whole time.
He's like, huh? Bill Burr's like, huh? Huh? How's that feel? Huh?
Yeah. And it was a crazy kind of performance though. He starts off that joking, and then he's dropping like just facts along, talking about talking about the whole you write your own rules, like everyone does that, and comparing to Mando is that you just can't show your face or you can't take off the Mandalorian helmet, right? Like, he's constantly hammering him, like, what are your personal rules? Like, you're like trying to hammer home, like, what you're doing is kind of stupid. And then his performance, like, quickly escalates, right? Then he's like, he sees this old Imperial officer who he mentions, I served under him.
Yep.
But then we find out that some really shady shit happened under him.
Yeah, they basically left them to slaughter.
Yeah, lost a bunch of people, and you could see the anger tweaking to the point where he just absolutely snaps and goes all full rebel.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
it was amazing. And seeing that transition of character from that lighthearted to like reliving this moment.
Yeah.
And just the belief even in the superior officer, like, that is the small sacrifice for, the Empire. And he's like, well, who is it good for?
Yeah.
It was, what a massive, massive moment of character growth.
Yeah. And in that just tight space, have that much kind of development. Like, I was.
Yep. I'm curious to see how fans are going to react to the TPS reports.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go fill out those TPS reports.
I mean, as a guy who's watched Office Space probably 15 times, I howled in that moment. So, for the viewers out there, are you guys gonna trash Bill Burr for that reference? Or is this really a sign that The Mandalorian isn't just Star Wars? It's about pop culture. It's about, fan service to the things that we love. And I personally thought it was hilarious. It was well placed. I'm going to assume that was not scripted. There is no way on God's green earth that any director wrote that in. But again, I think it's just such a nod to pop culture and what we love in movies,
and
right?
It fits too, right? Because yes, we know it's called Office Space, but it's so obscure as well. Like, it could just be lost as part of the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? And so I thought it worked really well.
Yep.
Okay, so we love Bill Burr. We loved the posing as the Imperials.
Yep.
Let's talk about a couple other things. So, Slave One, really cool. I think everyone knows, when Slave One lands, it's kind of like this, and the seats are sitting up like this, and we actually get in the cockpit view, and you could see the ship rotating around them, sitting in the cargo hold as they're taking off. Was really, really neat to kind of actually see that on the inside inner workings for a change.
Yep.
And then we obviously get, I call it as we're watching it, when those two TIE fighters are calling after him, like he's dropping the seismic charge.
Yeah, you did. You called that.
And decimates those TIEs, which is sweet.
I had totally forgotten about that trick from Slave One until it opened up. I was like, yep.
And then, so Bill Burr goes on his way. I think you and me were both kind of surprised he didn't kind of join the crew.
Yeah.
I think they both saw his kind of newfound hatred for the Empire and were like, this is the type of guy we need. But Bill Burr left, and then we got our last little check-in with Moff Gideon, and Mando sends him a message basically saying he's coming for him, and he uses his exact quotes from the season 1 finale back to him, like, you don't understand what you have or how much this child means to
this
me.
means more to me than you will ever know. I also think it's the full transformation of the compassless bounty hunter to the absolute protector, right?
Well, I guess I can't believe we never talked about this. So he loves this child so much, he took his helmet off in the episode. He went to that terminal. He's just like, I'll do it. Yep. And he does it, and Bill exposes his face to all these Imperials. Bill Burr now knows what he looks like. So that was a huge step personally for Mando.
Yep.
Right? He's said, this kid means more to me than the Creed does. It's essentially what he's saying in that moment.
Yeah, and I think that there's an overall theme to this show, which is really the first time they've driven it home, which is, the things that we believe in only stand up against what we love.
Yeah.
So everyone has guiding. Oh, someone's calling. I hope it's not you guys.
Host phone still.
Yeah, it's still my grandmother and her parents have someone to call. We all have principles and morals that guide us. However, that can instantly be taken away when something we love is threatened. And it's amazing to see what we'll do as humans when we're desperate. And I mean, I loved the message in it. So it's very cool.
Yeah, it comes right back to Bill Burr's quote, right? Like, everyone, until you're put under pressure or you have something to sacrifice for, everyone's rules will always change, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I think that wraps it up for the review, Ged.
That's it. Just very quickly want to say thank you to Lost Aviator Coffee for allowing us to go rogue. Thought you might like that pun there.
Yeah.
Rogue with their logo and throwing an X-Wing on there. So to Lost Aviator Coffee, thank you for keeping us caffeinated today, and I appreciate you letting us do this. Guys, if you're interested in any of this stuff, please reach out to Steve Zago at Lost Aviator Coffee, and we'll figure out how to get some of these made for him. Smash, subscribe, like, comments, anything you guys want to see, please let us know. Tyler the Rogue Leader, Get from Fabolous Flix. Love doing these. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing what 21 has to offer, and can't wait for next week, man. Anything else?
No, just see y'all next week on the finale. It should be fireworks.
Cheers.